We're going to do a quote from Nisargadatta Maharaj. Dun, dun, dun. Dump. Okay, so let's. Okay, the perceived cannot be the perceiver. Chapter 99. How many chapters are there? I've been reading this in my book clubs of people, and it takes a very long time. Oh, that's the last chapter. Oh, no, it's not. 101. Okay, so we'll just read a bit and then see if that inspires words. The perceiver cannot be perceived. I have been moving from place to place, investigating the very yogas available for practice, and I could not decide which will suit me best. I should be thankful for some competent advice. At present, as a result of all this searching, I'm just tired of the idea of finding truth. It seems to me both unnecessary and troublesome. Life is enjoyable as it is, and I see no purpose in improving on it. Maharaji. You're welcome to stay in your contentment, but can you? Youth, vigor, money, all will pass any sooner than you expect. Sorrows shunned so far will pursue you. If you want to be beyond suffering, you must meet it halfway and embrace it. Relinquish your habits and addictions. Live a simple and sober life. Don't hurt a living being. This is the foundation of yoga. To find reality, you must be real in the smallest daily actions. There can be no deceit in the search for truth. You say you find your life enjoyable. Maybe it is at present, but who enjoys it? Okay, so let's just go to that answer. So what does he mean by to find reality, you must be real in the smallest daily action? There can be no deceit in search for truth. So, I mean, this is just my interpretation, and maybe Nisargadatta Maharaj is turning in his grave at me commenting on this. So what I interpret as there can be no deceit in the search for truth is what I was talking about earlier in staying in seeking and identification and believing that what you think or feel is true. So this person, for example, they say, I am just tired of the idea of finding truth. And that's not true. Even though they think it is, that statement isn't true. It's a belief system. So that I am tired, like, that's such a bizarre idea that there is a continuous I that is tired at the idea of finding truth. It's an expression that's coming up because there's an emotion of tiredness appearing. But then there's somebody that claims it and believes it's a story of them and removes themselves from what's actually happening and then watches themselves sort of as an image, as a story, as memories, as somebody that is tired of finding truth. This is deceit. This is being deceitful to yourself. That's not who you are right now. You're not someone that's tired of finding truth. It seems to me both unnecessary and troublesome. What you are right now is presence. And there's a feeling of tiredness appearing, and then there is an explanation for it and an identification with it. So go deeper. What is the truth of that? Who is the I am tired? Who are you? And you can connect it to past ideas, and you connect it to parents. You can connect it to emotions, but you can't stop there. You have to keep going deeper. Who is the people? Who is the past me? Who is my parents? Who are they? Who am I? And then eventually you come back to the formless and you realize the deceit of your mind, the illusions, and it's happening all the time. People think they're being honest, but they're deceiving themselves. There can be no deceit in the search for truth. You say you find your life enjoyable. Maybe it is at present, but who enjoys it? You see? He's just pushing, pushing, pushing. I love it. Who enjoys it? Who? Who is he to enjoy his life? Enjoyment arises, enjoyment passes, and then there is somebody sewing it all together to make a you that enjoys your life, putting it into a story and making it an identity. There is enjoyment for no one, and in that enjoyment, everything is joyful. The birds, the sky. Enjoyment doesn't belong to someone. Who would it belong to? This is the lie and the illusion of the human that makes them a solid entity that's looking out of the eyes. There is no you. Who are you? Question. I confess I do not know the enjoyer nor the enjoyed. I only know the enjoyment. Maharaji. Quite right. But enjoyment is a state of mind. It comes and goes. It's very impermanent. Its very impermanence makes it perceivable. You cannot be conscious of what does not change. All consciousness is consciousness of change, but the very perception of change, does it not necessitate a changeless background? Boom, boom, boom. He's just banging it out of the ballpark here. Boom, 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 boom. And people read these words or hear these words and like, yeah, yeah. They don't really take it into its depths. So enjoyment is a state of mind. It comes and goes, and that's what everybody is seeking. Enjoyment, happiness, bliss. It's something that comes and goes, but it's impermanent. You cannot be conscious of what does not change. That's really, you cannot be conscious of that which does not change. So freedom is the changeless, but you cannot be conscious of it. So anything that comes and goes isn't freedom and isn't who you are. All consciousness is consciousness of change. But the very perception of change, does it not necessitate a changeless background? Oh God, it's so amazing, but incredibly hard to communicate. So there is this looking, the consciousness, the big consciousness. And the big consciousness is empty, totally empty. So you could say that that's not in movement. Nothing moves in that emptiness. So the backside of consciousness is empty. It's the unknown. You cannot look at the unknown. The unknown doesn't even exist, but yet it's here, perfectly still, perfectly empty, at the backside of consciousness. It's not really the backside, but we're just saying that to split it up. And then there is consciousness and the movement of things in consciousness. And then there is an identity that arises and says, I am conscious and I am enjoying this. My life is happy or my life is unhappy. And what seemingly happens at the beginning is that the person looks round at the empty consciousness, but it can't really. It's just a process of dismantling. And what happens in awakening is a movement back to the consciousness, which is empty. So everything is being watched from a perspective of emptiness. Nothing is watching, nothing is experiencing. And this is the love. This is the freedom. But the mind, the person, the seeking is always looking for freedom in form and in movement, and it will never find it. So the perception of change is like the slide into the formless, that which is perceiving. You cannot find the perceiver, and you cannot differentiate the perceiver from the perceived. In the end, it disappears. There is emptiness and fullness, formlessness and form. But we use these words, the consciousness and the I am, as slides. So my friend used to describe them as like the consciousness and the I am is like the angel. And then they have one wing in nothing. So one wing in divinity and one wing in the world. So beautiful. Does it not necessitate a changeless background? Question. Not at all. The memory of the last state compared to the actuality of the present state gives the experience a change. Maharaji. Between the remembered and the actual, there is basic difference which can be observed from moment to moment. At no point of time is the actual the remembered. Between the two, there is a difference in kind, not merely in intensity. The actual is unmistakably so. By no effect or will or imagination can you interchange the two. Now, what is it that gives this unique quality to the actual? Okay, just let me read that again. Between the remembered and the actual, there is a basic difference which can be observed from moment to moment. At no point of time is the actual the remembered. Between the two, there's a difference in kind, not merely in intensity. The actual is unmistakably so, but no effort or will or imagination can interchange the two. Now, what is it that gives the unique quality of the actual? The actual, questioner, the actual is real, while there is a good deal of uncertainty about the remembered. Maharaji, quite so, but why? A moment back, the remembered was actual. In a moment, the actual will be the remembered. What makes the actual unique? Obviously, it is your sense of being present. In memory and anticipation, there is clear feeling that is a mental state under observation. Well, in actual, the feeling is primarily of being present and aware. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I can quote on that. It's so perfect. I will elaborate on it in a moment, but I'm just enjoying the vibration of silence, which is emitted from it. What bliss. What bliss. So what I feel like he's talking about in this moment is the difference between what's actually happening and then the mental states. And this is what we've been talking about the whole talk, is the illusion of the mental states. What are we without mental states? Who are we without mental states? Who are we without mental states? I mean, this is practice of self-inquiry. Even the idea of practice gets incinerated because who practices? And this isn't a simple teaching. This isn't something you think you'd study on your day off. This teaching is an absolute commitment to freedom. It's not about getting better habits or conditioning or improving your karma or releasing emotions, although I'm a fan of all of that. I think that's a great thing to do. But this really isn't that. This is like jumping off the diving board into the absolute unknown and mystery of what is. It's the collapsing of everything you believe in and think, not just mentally, but energetically, so that there's no boundaries between you and everything left. I keep falling asleep as you read that. I feel like a part of me is trying to avoid hearing it for sure. You know, this is really death to the person, the illusory person. And that's not a small thing, you know, we get into this and we're like, yeah, bring it on. But it's really the death to the illusion. It's huge. This is life-changing. It's shaking up everything you've built and believed. It's not just a bit of yoga to improve your backache or going to therapy to improve your relationships. This isn't what non-duality is. Non-duality is rediscovering who you are, and that who you thought you were was an illusion, was imagination. That's no small feat. This is why in previous videos I was talking about absolute commitment, because it's going to get messy. Because the illusory you is going to really try to hang on to being something, because it doesn't want to die. It's terrified of dying. It can remain someone. It can remain with the illusion of control. It can remain with the dreams, with people, with companionship. But this is absolute emptiness, absolute aloneness. There's nobody else here. You're absolutely alone. All one. Okay. The questioner said, the actual is real while there is a good deal of uncertainty about the remembered. Maharaji, quite so, but why? A moment back, the remembered was actual. In a moment, the actual will be the remembered. What makes the actual unique? Obviously, it's your sense of being present. In memory and anticipation, there is clear feeling that it is a mental state under observation, while in the actual, the feeling is primary of being present and aware. Question. Yes, I can see. It is awareness that makes the difference between the actual and the remembered. One thinks of the past or the future, but one is present in the now. Maharaji. Whenever you go, wherever you go, the sense of here and now you carry with you all the time. It means that you are independent of space and time, that space and time are in you, not you in them. It is your self-identification with the body, which of course is limited in space and time, that gives you the feeling of finiteness. In reality, you're infinite and eternal. Questioner, this infinite and the eternal self of mine, how am I to know it? Maharaji, the self you want to know, is it some second self? Are you made of several selves? Surely there is only one self, and you are the self, that self. The self you are is only self there is. Remove and abandon your wrong ideas about yourself, and there it is, a lot's glory. It is only your mind that prevents self-knowledge. Let me in. I'm just about to end anyway. How am I to be rid of the mind? And is life without mind at all possible on the human level? Maharaji, there is no such thing as mind. There are ideas, and some of them are wrong. Abandon the wrong ideas, for they are false and obstruct your vision of yourself. Question, which ideas are wrong and which are true? Maharaji, assertions are usually wrong and denial right. Denial's right. Question. One cannot live by denying everything. Maharaji, only by denying can you live. Assertion is bondage. To question and deny is necessity. It is the essence of revolt. And without revolt, there can be no freedom. Nice. Okay. I think that is enough for today. Just read